All right. Alabama woman gets 723 years in prison for sexually abusing her daughters. Let's see. Decatur, Alabama. And this article was posted November 2nd, but this story is very, very old. Well, let's read. Maybe to tell in here. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm excited. Well, I'm nervous. I'm not like, it's not like it's a, it will be a feel-good story here by the time we get through with it. An Alabama woman was sentenced to more than 700 years in prison for sexually abusing her daughter and stepdaughter, officials say. Daughters. Now, there was a lot more than there were other kids in the situation. These are just the ones that they got charged with. But and Jen's gonna tell you in her own words. But yeah, it was a lot worse, and they didn't even go to jail till like 10 years after, I believe, is what it was. WREG reported that 41-year-old Lisa Lesher was sentenced November 2nd to serve 723 years in prison, the sentence which was the maximum allowed by law. So that should tell you something. It was handed down by Judge Stephen Brown. Investigators said Lesher was convicted by a jury on October 1st, 2020. 2 counts of first-degree rape, 4 counts of first-degree sodomy, 1 count of first-degree. Good grief, I have to read that twice. 1 count of first-degree sodomy, 1 count of sexual torture, 1 count of first-degree sexual abuse. Trial testimony revealed she, along with her husband, Michael, sexually abused her daughter and stepdaughter for several years at their home in Falkville, Alabama. Our WREG reported that case was first reported in 2007. Let that sink in. We are in 2021. They were convicted in October 2020. It happened and was reported in 2007, but was reopened at the request of the victims by the Morgan County District Attorney Scott Anderson. God bless him. Lesher was sentenced to 99 years in each count of first-degree rape, first-degree sodomy, and sexual torture. She received a 20-year sentence for second-degree sodomy, a 10-year sentence for first-degree sexual abuse. Judge Brown ordered each count to run consecutively for a total of 723 years in the Department of Corrections. Lesher's husband, Michael Lesher, was tried for his participation in the abuse and was sentenced to 438 years in prison. D.A. Anderson said, Lisa Lesher was sentenced to 723 years in the case, and she deserved every day of it. Justice has been served, and I agree. So let me get back to y'all. Let's see. All right, now let's get that. Now, all right, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce y'all to Jenn. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You have good holidays and stuff?
Yes, it's pretty good.
Good. Guys in the chat, can y'all hear? Can y'all pop down a 1 if y'all can hear pretty good? Let's see. Let me see. Let me make sure my volume is up. Yes, the volume's up. Let's see. Well, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Y'all can hear. So do you just want to kind of lead up? Do you just want to talk, or how do you want to handle it?
Maybe like we did last time.
Okay. So, and I think, how old were you when it happened?
I was 6 years old when we got taken out of the home. Mm-hmm.
She was 6 years old when she got taken out of the home. Now, it was an older sibling at the school who alerted initially, correct? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Right. My oldest sister got in trouble at school, and when she got home, my mom was physically attacked her. And so she went to school the next morning, and she had choke marks around her neck. So she got arrested for that, and my sister was taken out of the home. But we, like all the rest of us, we were still in the home. But and that's basically when everything started, and she, came forward and said that this happened, and when the investigation for that started.
So how long were the other children left in the home after they were removed? How long were the other children removed?
Well, it's probably about April or May when that happened, and we didn't leave out of the house until June 4th. So it was a while.
Oh heck, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? See, and what to me is, yes, of course, the abuse, but you're a lot older now. How old are you? What, 21, right? You're 21 now. And what blows my mind is not necessarily, of course, the abuse is awful. Of course, the abuse is egregious, but it is that dead space in between the time that they got the time they got reported to the time they got arrested. You children are in foster cares separately, not even all together.
Right.
And 7 children in the home altogether, correct?
Correct.
7 children in the home. And if I'm not mistaken, CPS was reported to first, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And didn't you tell me that the only thing CPS did was remove them out of the home, and they just pretty much sign your rights and we won't file charges?
Well, it took 7 years for that because DHR illegally took us out of the home, seeing as we were registered Native Americans, and they have to go through a process for that. So eventually it came down to them saying, sign your rights over so that you won't have to go to jail. It took them 7 years for that to happen. So between that time, we could have been adopted, we could have been placed, younger, but we stayed in the system. And I actually stayed in the system until I turned 19.
And can you touch a little bit about the ins and outs of y'all being Native American and how that affected y'all getting adopted out, or any, how does that come into play? Because, just for some people that don't know.
Okay. So when you are registered through a tribe, when DHR comes in, they have to place you with another Native American family. Wow. And they did not. They didn't investigate it. They basically just came in and took us out of the home, which they may have known, they may not have known. So that's what my lawyer fought and appealed. That's the only way that they could appeal, DHR taking their rights away. And so DHR could have gotten in a lot of trouble for that. And so they just basically were like, well, we're going to fight you until we win, or you can sign your rights away. And they did.
So, and how long did it take if they would have just put y'all with the Native family, it would have been how long did it take for them to say, oh, wait a minute? So how long were you in limbo, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It was 7 years. I believe it was 13 or 14, so about 7 years.
Well, and let's see. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you went through like that? Or, well, let me say this. So there was no contact with and he is your biological father, correct?
Right.
And you're her biological daughter. So these are your parents.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So, and didn't they tell people for this time period that their kids what did they tell people? You tell the audience, what did your parents tell people where you were at?
Okay, so as far as I know is when they moved from Falkville to Birmingham, the people in that area told me that they were told that we all died in a car crash. And when they moved from Birmingham to Georgia, it was a different story for the people that were there. They said that we all died in a house fire.
But they pretty much just told people that y'all died.
Right. Basically, I didn't want to say, DHR took my kids.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. And DHR stands for what?
Department of Human Resources.
Department of Human Resources. Because see, here it's CPS. Some places it's Department of Children and Family Services. So it's got different names, but it's the same thing. My God, Jenn, it's hard to talk to you without wanting to cry. I just feel it's such an injustice. And the other count, they didn't even get charged with abusing some of the other children, did they? Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Did they get charged? They only got charged for a few of the victims, correct?
Right, for only 2 of them. And there
Two
was
victims.
right. There's 5 more of us.
So what are the ages? Can you give them to me, like oldest to youngest in order?
Okay,
Just ages,
so
not names.
my youngest brother is 18, then 20, 21, 23, 25, and 28. And 28, 2 28s.
My God. My God, you're getting a lot of positive response in the chat. You know, such a brave young lady. Jesus wept. Like, I mean, it's such a big deal. And I'm gonna bring it. You don't have to talk about it. You can say no, I don't want to go there. But was there a point in your life before the charges were filed to where you were like, you still wanted to have that relationship just because you know that was your parents? Can you tell a little bit about that when and how that played out? You know, to the worst actually, but.
Right. So actually, there was a point after high school and after I turned 18, I actually went to Georgia and I met them. And we tried to work it out. You know, I didn't necessarily bring it up or anything,
Sure.
but, you know, I tried to give them a chance to say, hey, you know, I know that this happened in the past. It's been a while. I know you may be a different person. I have forgiven and I haven't forgotten, but I can move past it because you are my parents. And so it didn't work out. And about 2 weeks after I left Georgia from going to visit them is when I got the phone call from my brother saying, you know, they've been arrested by U.S. Marshals and, you know, they're going to jail.
So, I just want, hold on, let me just, anybody coming in, this is Jenn Leshner. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
So, and her parents, they were sentenced to, you know, hundreds of years in prison for abuse, 10 years after the fact. And she's just telling her story. So anybody coming in, and thank y'all for joining. Let me see. What was I going to say? So, and y'all had just gotten to you know, it didn't work. So, and I think
Right.
it might have probably went a little bit differently had they admit guilt, I apologize, or, you know, just whatever. In fact, they didn't, you know, to your knowledge, what have people told you about what their life was like in that 10 years to where they were just kind of, you know, floating around scot free?
Right. So actually, when this all came to light, me and my sisters were dragged. We were told, you know, we were liars, manipulators, that DHR and the government had to say all these things that they actually paid us to say these things about them. That's what they said. And so it's like a tribe of, you know, the Native Americans. They all stick together, you know. So they basically dragged us. And they was like, you know, there's no way they would do this. I know them. I've known them for years. I've known them since you were born. And some people were like, yeah, I can see that, kind of some creepy people. So it really was just like, you know, maybe it's like a clan or something. Like maybe these people were also doing this to their children and also doing it. So.
Wow. So, you know, to a degree, it may have been acceptable.
Right.
Wow. Wow. So has DHR, have they, you know, said anything? Have they been culpable? Have the, you know, I mean, to me, it starts and ends with them.
Right. Well, the DHR office I dealt with, there were some good and there were some bad. And I can say mostly they were more bad than good. They didn't really help much. They weren't very helpful. In fact, like after I turned, I think 16, when I got my first job, they stopped helping with anything, school clothes, you know, finances, anything. I had to finance myself basically. Senior payments, you know, by myself. They basically didn't help. So they basically were supposed to take us out of a home and help us get better. And it basically was just about as worse as being in the home.
Well, and here's another fun fact. They pocketed that money because they received money for y'all. Absolutely. And they pocketed every bit of it.
Right, they do. And since about 16, I didn't have any Christmas presents, didn't have this, didn't have that, no birthday, you know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to have funds for that, and they did not. I didn't receive anything.
Oh, not only funds. I'm going to tell you something. I know firsthand with, somebody I'm very close with. People throw money at foster kids, throw toys at foster kids. They pick families. They pick kids. I mean, they had toy drives. They, like here we have a little local celebrity. He'll go to the Walmart and he'll, pay the layaways, hand out buy. I mean, finding Christmas for kids shouldn't be, people, it's just, it's sad. So
it's also supposed to be when you emancipate, which when I turned 19, I emancipated. They're supposed to give you funds for you to get your first apartment. They're supposed to give you like $1,500, and I didn't receive that. And I think that it was a favorites thing because my sister, when she aged out, when she was still in the system, she made sure that we had stuff. She made sure that DHR was doing their part. Well, when she aged out, they stopped doing it. Like, she got married and they stopped doing it.
Wow. So you're out on your own. Let's switch gears a little bit. And if you wanted to, would you mind taking some questions? If they're, if I feel they're too private or whatever, I don't have to read them. We could do questions. And if you wanted to switch gears, and they may not want, I have a very great community. They may not even want questions or whatever, but, we're just going to switch gears. But you want to tell us about, have you done, yes, CPS does kill kids. We have people are lit up in the chat. Do you want to tell a little bit about, because let's get to the good, what there is a good part, let's try to find it. But the sentence was amazing. Praise God, because a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. And you don't know if they did this to the kids in the 10 years. Like, you don't know who they were around. They're just like two psycho loose cannons around. I know it's your parents. I don't mean to be, maybe I'll watch my words. I apologize. But I don't want to be disrespectful. But, so do you want to tell a little bit about your healing, what you went through? Did you, are there good people that you came across? Is there, you just want to tell a little bit about your what you went through, your come ups, what helped you get through this? What are you doing to get through this? Is there something you need now? So I'll get the floor to you, and I'll check and see if we have any questions in here.
Okay. So, after all this happened, it took me a long time to heal, to accept the fact that what happened to me happened. I held it in for a long time, denied it. And it wasn't until this recently came to light that I accepted what happened and, I dealt with it. And it was hard because it was a lot of years built up that I didn't deal with it. But I'm glad that I did because now I feel better. I can speak and help others.
Right.
Right. And right now I am currently in a relationship and he has 3 kids. And it just kind of, I'm getting a little emotional. It's really good because now he has 3 kids that don't have their mom. So I can be there and I can help them because I know how it felt.
Right. I'm getting a little emotional too. Oh my goodness. So Steph says, has she gotten help with, my screen jumped. Has she gotten help? Does she still have issues? I deal with depression and anxiety from child abuse.
Yes, I do, but it's more of the fact that, my family is split up. It's not more of the fact because I dealt with the abuse a long time ago. Like I didn't necessarily accept that it happened, but I said, I'm just going to forget about this,
Yeah.
So now I have dealt with it and there's really nothing there that affects me. It's more the fact that sometimes I wish that I had a mom, or sometimes I wish that my family was together, that I could call my family. It's more of that issue than it is with the abuse.
Right. I meant to bring this up a second ago, but I mean, yeah, that's just a whole nother incredibly sad part of the story. Y'all were split up in like what you talked to maybe one sibling now, correct?
I haven't heard from him since the last time that we talked either. So
I think that I think more than anything, that's probably this outside of the abuse itself. I mean, that's awful. I mean, you can't even pull from that type of support. But I mean, maybe God's doing for you what you can't do for yourself. You know, maybe their path will be different, you know, and I want to say I'm 41 now, and my definition of family and who I call family, it changes. And I'm sure you can identify with that with the new babies in your life and your boyfriend. So, oh my God, just incredible. Let me get to some of these positive comments. Let's see. It says, "That's great, girl. Keep working on yourself like you are, and things will get better. Make that family your own. I don't have any questions, but you are so blessed to be able to be strong and well adjusted as you seem. Thank you so much for advocating." I love my little community. Kathy C says, "I think speaking about healing is healing." And I do too. I do.
Right.
And then Toxic says she lit some sage for you and continued strength. Let's see. Steph says she's praying for you. Let's see. Midnight Espresso says, "I got to be real. CPS don't do good work at all." Personally, I feel like the entire CPS system needs to be revamped completely. I'm going to go further. Every government system we have, I feel, needs to be reformed. Every single one of them.
And I can say this: I've had social workers who went above and beyond. And I had one name. I'm not going to say her name, but her initials are C. So she sees this. But she was great. You know, like the best social worker I ever had, and I was very thankful for her.
I had a caseworker when I was a teenager, and I'll tell you something. She was amazing. I did stupid school. My mom can't find me. I'd be caught. You know, she come drag me out of whatever kind of crap house I'm in, and she was great. She would talk to me like she was like a second mom. And they fired her. Why? Because of paperwork. Stupid stuff.
The same thing. Yes, it's like the same.
Yeah, you get the good ones. Yeah, I mean, and very similar to cops. You have one bad apple, it spoils the whole damn batch. You can't speak out on the bad apple because then the bad apple will, you know, turn on you, and because it's the exact same system in CPS as they do with police. Cement says, at Jenn, "If you wrote a memoir, it would be flying off the shelves at bookstores. I'm old. LOL. If that is anything you'd consider, I'll take that first copy." I know. And that is nothing. Lizard Tia says, "That's just piling on emotional and psychological abuse on top of the system." And I agree. Sally, the mindset that is so ingrained for generations. I agree with that too. Let's see. God bless you. God sees your true heart, soul, and mind. That's sweet. You're a sweetheart. We got some positive. Let me scroll right there. We got some new comments. I went all the way up. Laura Beth says, "All I want to say is God bless her." That's sweet. Hey, Salty. Hey, Ambrose. We got some new people in here. And normally I shout out everybody, but today's a little different. So, hey, Gil. Hey, Shalimnan. And hey, Jolin. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? So, let's see. I love that she saw what she needed and is being the change. Exactly what we need. Exactly. And that was a very nice one. My heart goes out to her. We are who we are, and love and empathy is all we need. That's right. Kay Cooper says, "And welcome to the stream. She is so strong and mature, and God bless her." So, I mean, great positive feedback. Is there anything? So wonder, I guarantee you, if, you know, I don't know now with COVID and everything, but you could probably get hooked up with somebody that would maybe sponsor you going to like battered abuse shelters, things like that. Talking to maybe, I used to do that. I used to talk to recovering drug addicts. So, excuse me. So, what are your plans for the future? Like, what are you thinking? So just, if you just, anything else you want to say, just.
So right now I am currently having to stay home with his 3 kids while he goes to work. So I'm not working or anything.
Yeah.
Because their mother is not involved right now, which I'm not saying
I'm
anything about.
staying home too. Yeah, I get it.
She is recovering right now, or trying to recover.
Praise God.
So full time, so that she can have the time and the choice to do that without having to have, the kids. And they're in a better place right now, which is good. Yeah. So basically, just until we can figure all of this out, right now I'm just staying at home.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say this too. A lot of times, if there's an absent parent or something, I'm going to say right now, if they are doing what they need to do, if they're getting clean, if they're getting better, if they're getting treatment, sometimes that is that person being the best parent they can be. And sometimes making that sacrifice rather than dragging your children through every little shitty mistake you make is selfless. And it's 1,000 times better to sacrifice your time, your children, so you can be better and be the best mom you can be. And here's something else too, those tears that she may cry or feel guilt about, those would be the same tears she stays clean behind. So, or gets help, so, and, is there anything you need?
I mean, there's things I need, but I'm doing all right now.
Okay. Well, I do just want to extend this olive branch. You, outside of anybody in the entire world, has my personal phone number. I never do that. Text me, call me anytime. I wanted to say I wanted to say, let's see. Oh, Steph says, I'm in recovery, been sober for 11 and 2 years, 11 and a half years. Maybe that's what that's supposed to be. Bad anxiety from childhood. I know it's dealing with the inside. Absolutely. I think it's good to say too. I think it's good. You don't appear to have a drug problem or anything or any other coping mechanism that would, a lot of times people don't have such a, good,
they're not so stable.
They hang on to. They're not stable. Yeah.
Through all of this is choosing not to be like them. Like it's really hard when you enter that cycle to break the cycle. And it's really hard to, say that you're not going to do this, because I have struggled with the thoughts of, some of the things.
Sure. Well, my God, it's a lot.
But I have not, and I've overcome,
Right.
Basically, my thing is that it wasn't the therapist that came through it. It wasn't the therapy that helped me. It was sitting down to myself and praying. It was sitting down to myself and finding within myself how I could cope with it.
Well, because the answer always lies within us, first and foremost. And, all the meetings in the world, they don't fill a God void. They help. I don't mean NA meetings. I mean therapy sessions, all that. It can't just stop at the counseling session, at the meetings. You have to take what you learn out there with you into the entire world. And the hooping and hollering and the, oh God, why? Whoa, that shit doesn't help anybody. It's not productive, So, I mean, I'm blown away. You're so young. You seem to be so on top of it. I'm going to read a few more of these comments. Let's see. If Steph wants to email or trade war stories, you're welcome to give her my email. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That was not pertaining to here. Sorry about that, Jen. Let's see. Please reach out if you need something, or for the children. Either way. But you seem to have a good old man. My girlfriend is in 2 physically abusive relationships. One was 15 years eating out of her life. Wow. And the other was on and off for 11 years. Lucky to be alive. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Oh, and Sheila Scott, and welcome, Sheila. Sheila Scott says, hello, glad you're an overcomer. You will make it and continue to strive in greatness. I'm so sorry you had to experience this. Man, thank you for sharing your story and good luck. Thank you for being an advocate for children. And that was from Good Day Tina. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. So is there, I think, Beaver, I just meant about talking domestic violence of their past. Yes. I knew what you meant. So is there anything else you wanted to say? I mean, you feel free to come back anytime. Thank you, Canada girl. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Is there something, maybe one of your siblings will see this. Is there something you want to say? Is there something you want to say to the kid that's being abused? Do you just have any final thoughts?
Thinking about, when I was going through this, I didn't know that anything was wrong. I didn't know that anything was wrong. If it's hurting you, whether if you think it's wrong or not, if it hurts or if it's sad, then tell somebody, because some people go years and years and years and they don't realize until they leave high school and get married themselves. By then it's too much damage. Like, it's so hard. So my thing is and accept, like, if you know that something is wrong, don't put that voice in the back of your head telling you it's not wrong, it's all right. Or no, isn't, that's too embarrassing to tell anybody. That was my thing, is I was too embarrassed. Basically, just get help, whether it's within yourself, within, your religion, within going to, if therapy helps for you, go to therapy, whatever, may fit best for you. And don't limit your options.
Yeah, stay open-minded. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. She's such a beautiful light. No questions, just love and prayers. This is a great show, her coming on here. A lot of people have issues and don't know how much damage is done. And I want to say that too. I'm telling you, I know, like, just from addiction, abuse, whatever. You just really and truly, especially with relationships, I've been in a new relationship so far removed from my old one that something will creep up and I'm triggered and I'm like, what? But you just don't even know to the extent, until you've come out of something, and you may be 5 years from now and you may be sitting there, you're like, shit, whatever. I don't have family. I don't have this. I don't have that. But a lot of those times, it talks about in the Bible. I ain't trying to get religious or anything, but it says most of our thoughts are wrong anyways. And what do? They trigger a response, and then here we are off to the damn races. So, yeah. And I thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jenn.
Well, thank you for allowing me.
Yeah, no problem. We just wish you the best. Is there anything else you want to say? Are you good? Or I just, this is about you, it's not about me or anything like that. So I just, I pray for healing for your siblings, between y'all. I mean, I think it's something, it's just another incredibly sad layer that y'all don't even have strength to pull for it from each other. And I just think that's such a disservice,
Well, see, my older siblings, they dealt with it a lot more and a lot longer than I did. And in that fact, they have a little bit of resentment towards me because of the way that I feel. And they feel like I can't feel like that. And so, we don't really talk. And drugs is a major thing with the older siblings. They're really,
if that's what they want, keep it.
Right. I can only help so much before it starts, affecting me. And I have to say, like, love you, but I come first. How I feel come first.
Absolutely.
And I realize that.
Well, and here's the thing, they were older. It's probably more fresh that, because your oldest, is 28. I mean, so yeah, they were old when it happened. They were a lot older. So they probably, but the end result's the same. Y'all still share parents. Y'all still lost parents, and you were still abused by parents. So the degree of abuse, yes, of course but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't. The end result's the same: trauma and abuse and hurt and loss. I mean, and it's just that, y'all lived through an incredible thing, you know. And I you know, everybody on this channel, and I'm sure you do too, you know, you being 6 and tiny like that, or your younger siblings, they're lucky to be alive. You know, I'm not saying, yeah, at least they didn't, but they could have, you know, it could have went bad, and praise God that they finally are getting the justice that they deserve.
Right. And I'm not sure if this was brought up in court or not, but literally, like, that day that my sister had the chokeholds and everything, my parents made her dig all of our graves, like, as a psychological thing. Like, I don't think that they were really going to kill us, but they made her do that.
So pretty much,
I mean, it's again,
your siblings are dead.
yeah. Basically, that was like at the point that she realized, you know, I have to tell somebody and at least try, you know, to get myself and possibly my brothers and sisters out of this situation. Wow. Because it was bad, but it had never gotten to that point before.
Wow. Well, and so they might have you know, they were probably like, which a lot of times, especially when couples abuse together, they're going to do whatever to save their own asses. It's just like using drugs with somebody. It's a whole nother level of a bond, sick bond, and sick bonds are the worst. Because then they're hardest to break. Because now it's one other person knows all your dirty secrets and is doing your dirty secrets with you. So if there was a chance, and if something went wrong and something would have happened, you know, death result of injury because of abuse, yeah, you know, you might not be here today. You know, we wouldn't, you know, telling your I'm a life story, your survivor story, instead of your, you know, you just never had a chance. You know, if you need anything, Jenn, you message me anytime. Feel free to come on the channel anytime, you know, extend it to anybody in your family if they want a healer and they just want to, you know, whatever. But we thank you so much from the very bottom of our hearts, the top, the head to the toes. Thank you so much. And like, be kind to yourself, you know, and just love on them babies in a way you never had.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Please keep in touch. Bye-bye.
I will. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. What do y'all think? I thought it went so good.